Right now at 6 o'clock, officers are still on the scene of a shooting in East Hartford, and there are still a lot of questions. We're live with the latest in about 2 minutes.
Hear from a man who says he alerted police after he saw a child fall out of a window. The charges that boy's mother is now facing.
Plus, a closer look at the impact flooding has had on farmers in Connecticut. We'll tell you what both lawmakers and the farmers' neighbors are doing to try to help.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
6 o'clock on a Monday. Good morning, sunshine. And we have a beautiful sunrise this morning, and a nice day is in store for us, but enjoy it now because it will not last long. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Symphony Privet.
And I'm Tim Lammers. That's a tease, so let's get right over to meteorologist Matt Scott. We got a lot of warmth coming this week.
First off, how about a thank you for the great the weather this weekend?
Oh, thank you.
This was finally the first great weekend that we've had, and it's only, getting to be late July. But man, yesterday I was at the Duncan Park for the Yard Goats game, and I was actually getting high fives instead of boos for a change of pace. Back to work, back to rain. There are a couple of showers in there later on today, but the severe stuff is staying to the west. We're going to turn the heat up in the 7-day. We'll talk about that coming up as the work week forecast looks a little toasty towards the end. Got a few clouds out there, not a big deal. Off to the west, approaching Binghamton, a couple of thunderstorms, very widely scattered. That's what we're looking for later on today. 67 degrees in Hartford, 71 in New Haven, another 67 in Groton, with the winds fairly calm for the most part. Look at the dew points, mostly in check up to the north. There's our lucky 61, Torrington, Windsor Locks. It's starting to perk up a little bit, though, on the shoreline. So you'll definitely feel that heat out there today. Temperatures getting into the mid to upper 80s across the board. Really no chance of rain, but it will keep that widely isolated shower in the mix. We'll talk about the work week forecast and when it's going to get hot. That's all coming up in a few minutes. 6:02, let's go to the roads, and I get to say good morning to Rachel Piscatelli.
Do I get to thank you, too, for the really nice weather?
Of course you do.
Okay.
Because they were like, well, is Rachel here? No? All right, fine. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, it's all right. I just want to make sure I get a thank you. I get it on this appreciation as well. All right, good morning. It is 6:02 now. And no incidents to report. We are following a couple of slowdowns really centered around the 95 corridor around Bridgeport this morning, where we do have some road work still out there. This will be out there through the 8 o'clock hour, so 2 lanes are blocked between 27 and exit 24. Over in Milford, we're tied up in both directions, but really the delays are centered around 95 northbound between 38 and 40. And then over in Bridgeport, southbound side 27 through about 24, heavy delays. So New Haven to Bridgeport, 49 minutes, 26 mile per hour speeds on the southbound side. So that's going to slow you down just a bit. West Haven to New Haven, you're looking at a 4-minute drive. Other than that, again, no incidents to report. We'll send things back over to you guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you. 6:03, and developing this morning, East Hartford police are still investigating a shooting that happened last night. This is on Burnside Avenue near Main Street.
Yeah, we're checking in with Fox 61's Brooke Griffin this morning. She's live in East Hartford at that scene. Brooke, what do we know so far?
Well, so far we have a lot more questions than answers, unfortunately, but we do know so far that at least one person has been shot here at this home on Burnside Avenue. Now, we don't know whether or not it happened inside or outside the home at this time. Police are not releasing many details, but we do know that they've been here investigating since around 9 o'clock last night. Now, again, one person has been shot, but police have not provided any information on that victim or on their current condition. The investigation has been centered in the parking lot here and inside the large white house since last night. We have seen investigators in full white body protective suits who are also wearing hairnets, a face mask, and protective glasses going in and out of the upstairs apartment within the past couple of hours. Now, right now, there are only a few officers, the evidence unit, and investigators here, but a heavy police presence could be seen in this area as police investigated through the night. East Hartford officers have not released any information on a potential suspect at this time. Again, still a lot of questions, but we have reached out to East Hartford police trying to just piece together what happened here and what the details are. As soon as we have any sort of information, we will get that out to you. Live in East Hartford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hi, Brooke. Thank you.
We'll check back in with you later this morning. At 6:04 now, and new this morning over in Guilford, a man somehow fell out of a hot air balloon. Officers responded just after 9:40 last night to the Guilford Fairgrounds. Police say a man was a volunteer for the balloon glow and laser show event at the fairgrounds. He was taken to the hospital. Police tell us he is in stable condition.
Oh, this morning in New Haven, one man is recovering after being stabbed at a soup kitchen. That happened just before 2 p.m. yesterday on State Street. Police said the man is expected to survive. They haven't said who stabbed him, but they do have surveillance video, and they've asked the public for tips as they continue to investigate. New Haven police could also use some help solving a shooting that happened early yesterday morning. They said a fight broke out while people were watching a street race around 2:30 a.m. near L.T. Grasso Boulevard and Printers Lane. They said the victim is expected to survive. Now, please call the New Haven PD if you can help, because at this point, detectives said they couldn't find any evidence of a shooting on the scene. All they had was the initial shot spotter notification that a gun went off and eyewitness accounts that a man fired a gun from the middle of the road. Also, if you see any street racing where you live, the state has set up a tip line so you can alert police and send photos and videos. That's really probably the big key here to catch people after the fact, because police said it's critically important. You don't try to take matters into your own hands and stop it yourself. Instead, call 911 and then get out of the area, because as you can see, sometimes these gatherings get violent.
Happening this morning in Hartford, community advocates are expected to call for more to be done amid devastating floods in neighborhoods in the city's north end. The Greater Hartford African American Alliance will lead the discussion at 11 this morning at the state capitol. Last month, the state announced a $170 million investment for 12 projects meant to fix decades-long stormwater and sewage overflow issues. Community advocates say since that announcement, there have been 2 storms that have led to more flooding issues. They say these fixes need to be expedited. And there's a push to reform the nation's federal crop insurance program in the wake of that significant flooding here in Connecticut. Senator Richard Blumenthal is backing the Ensuring Fairness for Family Farmers Act. He says the bill would better incentivize insurance agents to provide coverage to small farms and specialty crop farmers. He says small farms with diversified crops, like many in Connecticut, typically don't have adequate coverage when bad weather strikes. The senator is expected to discuss the proposal this morning in Rocky Hill. And as farms across the state dry out from all of that wet weather we've seen, we've got to worry about these guys. Some farmers now being forced to get rid of their animals because they don't have food. Listen to this. Hayes Farm over in Rocky Hill says out of its 63 cows, over half will need to be sold off or go to slaughter. One woman, Carol Solwyn, over in Rocky Hills, says she heard about the cows and is saving a mother cow and her calf. However, the challenge now is that Solwyn lives in a suburb and she needs to find them a home.
Drive by, see the cows every day, and so when I heard the story on the news, it was just so sad to hear about these cows, and said, can I save one cow? Can I buy a cow off of you? And it's a lot of my paychecks, but I said, you know what, I'll pay it.
Hayes Farm says the flooding has created years of setback. It says the cows are being sold or sent to slaughter as soon as this week. So the search is on right now to find the mom and her calf a new home.
Well, today marks a full week since a water main broke in Waterbury, and crews are still trying to repair it. Over the weekend, officials with the Watertown Water and Sewer Authority said the work could be done as soon as Wednesday. For now, though, they said customers might still have discolored water. Officials said they're monitoring the quality over and over, and they said right now the water is safe to use and drink, but it's not recommended, they say, that you use the hot water if it's discolored. This afternoon in Danbury, Governor Ned Lamont is expected to discuss the impacts of a new law that expands maternal services in Connecticut. It creates licenses for birthing centers outside of hospitals for low-risk pregnancies and deliveries. He'll be speaking today at 1 p.m. at the Connecticut Childbirth and Women's Center in Danbury there on Locust Avenue. Union organizers will meet in Middletown today to talk about the state of the economy and workforce. Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro is hosting that meeting. Now, the group will talk about the changing environment for organized labor, which does seem to be gaining steam nationwide, as there are several high-profile strikes going on, like the writers and actors strikes in Hollywood. Also, the possibility of a gigantic UPS workers strike. DeLauro's office said she's sponsoring federal legislation to strengthen the rights of workers to unionize.
Now, this morning in Hartford, police are investigating a shooting that sent 2 teenagers to the hospital. It happened just before 4 yesterday morning on Westland Street. 2 14-year-old boys were taken to the hospital with gunshot injuries. We're told their injuries are not life-threatening. Police are asking anyone who knows what happened to give them a call. And if you're just waking up this morning, we've got this heartbreaking story out of the capital city. A 2-year-old boy is in the hospital this morning after he fell from a 3rd-story apartment window. This all happened Saturday afternoon. The boy's mother, 34-year-old Tabitha Frank, is charged with 10 counts of risk of injury to a child. Officers say she left the boy and 4 other children home alone in the apartment. Police say a witness called 911 after seeing the child fall.
I'm still in shock, I can still see everything that happened, running through my mind. I would have never guessed. You hear about those things, but you never think that, it'll be just your neighbor.
Now, according to police, the police report, the apartment was in deplorable and uninhabitable condition.